Hey everyone, welcome to Anubhav in Tech. Today we have Vanchika Agrawal. She is an ex-Googler. She was with Google for 1.5 years. She has been interviewing for SD2 roles recently, and from our previous video, we got really good engagement, and a lot of people wanted to hear her experience interviewing at different companies like Confluent, LinkedIn, Amazon, and many more. So today we'll be discussing with her Confluent interview experience. You must be already aware of what Confluent is. If not, do Google or do AI search. So let's welcome Vanchika. Hey, hi Vanchika, how are you?
Hi Anubhav, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So today I want you to answer a few questions related to your interview experience at Confluent. So without wasting time, let's start with our first question. So can you tell me about how many rounds were there and what kind of rounds were there? Was it a phone screening, DSA, system design, or was it a kind of mix?
I'll actually start from step zero. That's how did I apply?
Okay.
I was applying for a senior software engineer role, which is equivalent to SD3 at Google, which is equivalent to SD2 at other product-based companies.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I had been applying there since September 2025. That's when I had first thought of switching potentially.
Okay.
But at that time, I didn't really get a lot of response. And every time I applied, that was via a referral. So I reached out to folks on LinkedIn who were at Confluent and asked them for a referral.
Okay.
So once my referral went through, that's when I applied to their website, or it could have been vice versa. Also, I'm not very sure, but basically it was through a referral.
Okay.
So I think I applied to 3 or 4 different senior software engineer positions at that time, but I didn't really get a call back. It's in Jan. I think that was the last time. December end or Jan first week was the last time when I applied again via referral from the same person, and that's when a recruiter reached out to me on email. So they set up a recruiter call, so to say, and then they explain the process. So the process at Confluent is a little different. So I'll have to refer to my notes for that because it was a little lengthy, the idiot as well. So the first round was obviously the qualifier interview or the technical phone screen round. That's what they call it at Google at least.
Yep.
So that was a coding round with data structures, algorithms, and concurrency. So in general, in Confluent, they focused a lot on concurrency and multi-threading concepts.
Okay.
Not really the case for other product-based companies. Like especially if I compare my experience at Google, Google was more DSA heavy. But in Confluent, I felt that it was more concurrency and multi-threading and its related concepts and low-level designs heavy interviews. So after that, I had the first virtual on-site interview. That was also DSA nature.
Okay. I had one follow up. So when you say concurrency, multi-threading, all those LLD concepts, what was the difficulty of it? Was it can we assume it was a beginner friendly, or you were expected to write some code, as in to show example of how multi-threading is done in Java or any other language?
So definitely, I don't think it was beginner friendly because maybe also because it was a senior software engineer role. So they expected at least intermediate level of knowledge for these concepts. So like I had to prepare especially for Confluent in a different manner so as to answer the questions that were being asked. For example, like in one of the rounds, I'll not disclose the exact questions, but similar questions which you can find on LeetCode Discuss and Reddit and Blind and other websites.
Please go ahead.
So one of the questions was checking whether a Sudoku puzzle was valid or not.
Perfect.
So it looks very simple or easy, but then the follow up was that you are given it's like you have to determine the number of ways in which Sudoku can be solved. Like there could be 2-3 ways also sometimes. So in such cases, concurrency and multi-threading become important. So that was the question in one of the initial rounds only or the qualifier round. So I felt that as a beginner, if I had never ever solved such a question using multi-threading or concurrency,
Was it multiple people trying to solve Sudoku at the same time? Because as I know,
they
Sudoku.
were in different players.
Okay, and different players. Okay.
Yes,
Solving the same Sudoku.
correct.
So, okay. Now it makes sense.
Yes.
Perfect. A great example. So, yeah, let's move to your first round. Was it a DSA round?
So the first round was also a DSA round, but in that case also it wasn't a straightforward DSA round.
Okay.
I think the question was a mixture of Alario Cache and so basically the Leap recently used question, which is very famous, but it's not exactly a DSA question. There is some aspect of LLD also in this question. Plus, they had given me something related to TTL also, and the TTL constraints were very strict. I had to do it in such a way that the average of active values was stored in a very optimized way. So these are very non-standard questions, in my opinion. Like
Okay.
if we talk about interview preparation or DSA preparation, we talk about like we saw like X number of questions on lead code and we got similar patterns or the same question in our interviews. But in case of Confluent, I did not feel that. Then there was a third round, which was a proper LLD round with conferency and multi-threading concepts. I don't remember the question that was asked exactly, but I think if anyone who's preparing for the interviews, they can go through the questions available online, and the concepts will remain the same, but definitely the question will change.
Okay.
So that was I think the third round. Then the fourth round was a system design round, which was a high level system design round. So I was asked about some sort of a KV store question
Okay.
with multiple different follow-ups. So this was relatively straightforward compared to the other rounds. It could also be because I was applying for the SJ2 rules, which maybe there are more
Difficult. They heard about it, yeah.
technical questions in SSAT. And then there was another system design round scheduled.
So there were two system design round?
Yes,
Okay.
HLD.
Okay.
But then they had cancelled it for some reason because I think they were satisfied with the first HLD round. But
Okay.
on paper, the recruiter had explained that there'll be two HLD rounds.
Okay.
Then there was a values round, which is a standard behavioral HR kind of a round. And at last, there was a hiring manager round. Now, in the interview, in the recruiter call that I had received and the email that the recruiter had to send to me, there were also 2-3 different rounds which were to be done in the back end, so to say. Like I was not to be involved in those rounds, but they were to be done. Like one was the hiring committee round, which is pretty standard like
Yeah,
this.
it's on. Okay.
And then there was another round called the reference check background. So apparently they need some professional reference checks as well.
A lot of company does. I mean, I know Uber does that. Flipkart does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a unique thing because I'd never heard of it.
Disha also did when I was interviewing with them. I mean, they do a background check. You have to provide a referral who has worked with you personally. They call them and take the feedback, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had not heard about this. Like I knew that companies do reference checks, but I thought that was something that was done after you accept the
So that is a
offer.
background check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Background
Yeah,
verification,
so as
BGV.
part of a background check, people use. I thought that was done, but yeah, this was something that I hadn't heard about. So that was one thing. And then finally, there was another thing called offer approval. So after that, like after the offer approval, also, I think that's when they started the team matching. But since I had other offers at that time, which I was more keen to join, I I took away I resigned from the process of interviewing. I took a step back and I told the recruiter that I have some other offers that I'm more interested in. At the
I
moment.
get it. That's a secret surprise you're holding.
Yeah. So I did not participate in the team matching rounds. Although I can give you some more information about the teams that they were hiring for. Most of them were to be based out of since Confluent is a remote first company, so obviously they were based out of anywhere in India, but there was one particular team that was based out of just Bangalore, even though we had to work remotely from Bangalore only. So yeah, that was end of the background that the recruiter gave me, at least initially. They would have told me more details that I decided to participate in the team matching section, but I did not because of the other offers that I had. Yeah, so I think that is how it went.
That was super helpful. But I want you to dive deep little bit more in each of the rounds. So let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, how difficult you felt the DSA rounds? I mean, if you can map those to lead code hard, medium.
Okay. So I would say that DSA was mostly lead code medium, but because of the kind of weightage that they wanted us to give to concurrency, multi-threading, OOPS, LLD concepts, it was a little challenging to inculcate all those practices in a 60-minute interview, out of which you are getting essentially 50 minutes to code and explain and everything. Because the rounds were 1 hour long, but 10 minutes, 5 minutes was for introduction and all, and 5 minutes at the end was for the closing and any questions that I had or the interviewer had. So, in that sense, the difficulty would be lead code medium, but because of this concurrency, multi-threading, and OOPS, etc., especially for me, because this was the first time that I was giving any interviews in this fashion, wherein I was asked to focus more on these concepts, I felt that it was a little more challenging for me, especially given the time constraints. Because in general, I think if you want to do a good LLD round or like a good machine coding round, at least 1 hour 15 minutes or 1 hour 30 minutes should be given. I think Flipkart is the only company that actually does it in that way.
Yeah, 90 minutes machine coding
Yeah.
round. Yeah, I know. And from where did you prepare? I mean, what was your learning resource? I mean, we all are 9 to 5 employees, and how do you manage your time to prepare for such big companies?
So I was preparing for a very long time. Like I think I started my preparation from June or July.
Last year?
June. Yeah, mid-June 2025 onwards. That's when I started. Uh, for the first 2-3 months, my preparation was not at all consistent or very aggressive also. I was just browsing, trying to apply. That was a time when I was not even getting calls, and that came as a very big shock to me. You could call it
Despite
a
of being a Googler,
correct.
not getting
It
enough.
was complex. I was under the impression that एक बार Google हो गया तो wow, अब तो हमें ऐसी जॉब मिलेगी, जो compensation मांगेंगे वो मिलेगा.
Yeah. Like Brahmastra, we have a Brahmastra of being Google tagged.
Exactly. But then that image shattered in just 2 months. So I wasn't getting calls at all. And then I thought, is it because of the compensation, or is it because of my experience that I don't have much relevant experience, or is it because I'm trying to switch too fast? So the whole loop of things went into that. But then I ultimately settled on the fact that it's the market. The market has become tougher. So yeah.
Because of AI investments.
And I have a different opinion on AI investments. Not sure if it's relevant to this video.
Yeah. We'll discuss it in some other video. And from where did you prepare for? I mean, I really want you to fret on what kind of resources you followed to prepare for LLD. I mean, I know like DSA would be lead code medium. Anyone can go and prepare from there. Can solve 2 to 300 medium or hard problems would be done for DSA. But what about LLD? What resources you followed, and what was the preparation strategy specifically for LLD? Because Confluent seems to be very focused on concurrency and multi-threading stuff. So
Yeah, so LLD, finding resources for LLD was one of the most challenging parts of my preparation, I think. LLD, I was preparing mostly for both Confluent and Uber. I had interviewed at Uber as well.
okay.
So, one of the resources that I came across was Shreyansh Jain's LLD.
Yeah, I know. Concept and coding, right?
Correct. He has a course in Udemy as well. So I bought the course only because on YouTube it looked very fragmented to me. So I bought one of that. I was also using Hello Interview. Hello Interview had just started LLD resources. So it was very bare minimum, but I tried doing that. And then it was just a lot of random Google searches and a lot of usage of ChatGPT Pro.
Nice.
And I will emphasize on the Pro because the free one is not good for preparation. Like if you want to prepare, like I did multiple rounds of mock interviews with ChatGPT. I just fed ChatGPT a question and I was like, you become my interviewer and we take my interview. And then I used to do like send my audio to ChatGPT while speaking and explaining. So that's how I kind of practiced. But for LLD, Shreyansh Jain, GKCS also has some videos for LLD cooking on YouTube. That Hello Interview, very little LLD. That random YouTube searches. Like I started with Shreyansh Jain, then in each of the parts I was having some doubts when I did a Google search. And I think there's another website for LLD.
It's called LLD coding.
Yeah, Algo Master. Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen it.
he has a lot of newsletters and videos. Then there are a lot of good Medium articles on multi-threading and concurrency concepts. So this was mostly what I referred to. There's one lead code discuss article as well on LLD. That was also quite helpful. I think that's about it. So LLD preparation was very fragmented for me. It was not at all organized. Like I can tell you how, like in contrast with my HLD preparation, LLD was very fragmented. For HLD, my go-to resource was Hello Interview. And for basics, I had seen GK series, but I didn't really like the content when I compared it to Hello Interview because Hello Interview was very structured. So I bought the premium version of Hello Interview, and this is not an advertisement of Hello Interview. But yeah, like I bought the premium version.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are now liking the Hello Interview. Ivan King, I think he's a co-founder CEO of Hello Interview. Really good stuff. I mean, I have personally went through all of those articles when I was interviewing. It really helped me crack multiple companies, and one including Uber, which had one of the toughest system design rounds. And plus one on that, I resonate on that. And what about the system design thing? I mean, from where did you prepare? Even I know sometimes we get very straightforward questions in system design, but the interviewer has a different expectation. They want you to dive deep into some particular component, some particular section of it. Was it with you as well? I mean, or was it a standard like you design it end to end and that's it done?
No. So in my case, one of the other companies that I had interviewed at, they wanted me to dive deep into one particular component only.
Okay.
And I was trying not to deep dive on it too much because I didn't have much thought on that particular component. So I think one of the tips for system design, and you can correct me here since we did a mock recently, I think try to dive the interview more.
Exactly.
So that the interviewer doesn't try to go to the concepts that you might think that you don't know as well. Like this is kind of a hack only. I'm not sure if you can call it a good thing or not, but like we are just trying to deal with a tough market and trying to maximize our chance of getting an offer. So I think in system design, in TSA, there's not much you can do with respect to this, but I think in system design, that's the beauty of system design, that you get to be the driver of your luck, so to say. So like obviously there'll be times when the interviewer will not really take this gimmick up, but if it works, it's good. Like do this as a last resort if you are not able to think of anything.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I also wanted to mention from other system design resources. I also read the whole Alex Zimmer book. There are two.
Yeah, volume 1 and volume 2. Yeah, I remember.
So I had read the whole, since I told you that I started preparing from July 2024, June and July 2024. So I started with the system design only because I had never given system design interviews before. So I read both the books cover to cover.
Alex Wu, volume 1 and volume 2. Those are really good books, I would say, when you're starting. I mean, I read those when I was SD1 in one of the startup. Was recommended by one of my friend. And really good book. I mean, good start. I mean, those books will not help you to dive deep into certain parts of the system design, but it will give you an idea of what system design interviews look like.
Plus one on that, I was also recommended the book by a senior. So yeah, and then I looked at a lot of system design mock interviews on YouTube.
Yeah, very important.
That was one of the most important things that I did because I didn't even know how system design interviews are driven or how do you go about it. Because for me, it was very difficult to digest the fact that you're just given a problem statement and then you're supposed to do something about it. Which in DSA, you at least get some test cases, or you would propose some test cases. But how do you propose a test case in a system design interview? It's not possible. So I think that was one of the things that helped me a lot.
I think there are edge cases rather than test cases in system design.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so yeah, that was one other resource that I went through. And I also checked out a lot of Algo Master by Ashish Prakopsing's website. And I forgot to mention for LLD, I also looked at some videos from Take Me Forward Plus. They had also newly introduced LLD resources. That's
So-
probably right.
You pretty much explored all of the resources that are available on internet.
Yeah, for LLD, it was very difficult for me. Like, I was not understanding what to study, where do I get the questions from. If I was getting the questions, I was not understanding how to come up with the correct way to approach the problem. Then there was this whole thing about UML diagrams. Some people say that you should do it, like you should tell about it in an interview. Others were saying, no, it's an archaic tradition, and no one wants a UML diagram anymore, and we should just.
Plus one on that, even I'm not a UML diagram fan. So
Yeah,
when
but
I
then
don't
I
expect
was like,
or-
I didn't know because in some parts of the internet, it's written that it depends on the interviewer. If your interviewer is more serious.
I think it's a waste of time if you're trying to draw UML diagrams during an interview that is strictly limited to 45 minutes, 60-minute style. Then I think that pretty waste of time. You should rather use your IDE. Maybe just simply open any drawing board and just draw it and show if you're really into drawing stuff.
I think that is also a waste of time because completing one question is, for example, if you get like a parking lot question, the code in itself will be about 150 lines.
Yep.
Completing that in 45, 60 minutes, I don't know, maybe my typing speed is low. But for me, completing 150 lines of code in 50, 60 minutes was a little challenging.
Yeah. I think typing speed is very irrelevant now in the age of AI. No one can type faster than AI. Joking, but yeah, I mean, we really don't need to type a lot of stuff if you know really good, like writing good prompts. Your job is safe. Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. So you still didn't answer my last question for this interview experience thing. That how did you manage? I mean, I know that you started in June, July, but most of the time we spend around our working hours. I mean, even after working hours, we work and we stretch. So was it your weekends that you sacrificed for this preparation, or you had some other strategy or some time management plan then that one can follow and one can benefit from it?
Yeah, so mostly all of my weekends were going into preparing. And in general, I don't have a lot of weekend plans, so it was not much of a sacrifice for me. So yeah, that was how, like, weekends I was preparing for like 8 to 10 hours on every weekend. All of the office holidays were going into that.
Perfect.
Some of my sick leaves were also going into that. And then after office, I tried to study for like 2 to 3 hours. And in case I had no time on some days, then 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
So because so I'll tell you, the interviews happened in like Jan 2026. So essentially I was almost 4 to 5 months deep in my preparation, or 6 months also. Like July, August, September, October, November, December. It's 6 months. So
Was it on and off preparation or like continuous 6 months preparation?
from October it was very consistent preparation. Even before that I had started.
Okay.
But
okay.
it was more of a, oh, I studied, I applied, oh, there's no call, I'm depressed, I'm not studying, oh, I'll study again, oh, I'm depressed, I'll not study. So till October, that was how it was going. But I think from October onwards, it was, I have to start doing it serious, I think.
Got it. Consistency is the key.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Vanchika. You had really, I mean, all those insights are really helpful. I think for anyone who is watching and planning or appearing for confident interview, this will be really helpful. I think I'll put some more key points here. For practicing mock interviews, you can ask your friends, seniors, or use this website called exponent.io. You get free mock interviews, free 5 mock interviews per month, and that is a random thing. I mean, you will be matched with random engineers across the world. I utilized it as much as possible, and then Vanchika has already explained. I mean, she has already mentioned many of the resources. Follow any of them. All of them are really good. And thank you so much, Vanchika, for your advices and taking out time for sharing your interview experience. Any ending note that you want to share before leaving?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is not to stress about things. Like I told you that, oh, I'm doing the study, oh, I'm depressed. So I think if you enter this mode, then it's very difficult to get any offer. So I think the best thing is to just put your feelings aside about things and treat it like a match, or like a dating app kind of a thing. Don't take it too personally.
I get it. Thanks, Vanchika. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.